students, welcome to Sunil's tutorial. I'm Sunil Mirwani and today we'll be doing this chapter called as Control and Coordination. Let's see this. We're going to see the pancreas today. Now, what are pancreas? Pancreas are dual gland. It is a dual gland. Or dual gland. It is a dual gland. It is an exocrine as well as endocrine. Exocrine as well as endocrine. Right? That's the reason why it is called as dual gland. Now, the endocrine pancreas is called the islet of Langerhans. The endocrine pancreas are called as the islet of Langerhans. Now these show three types of cells which are called as alpha, beta and delta cells. So the islet of Langerhans show three types of cells which show three types of cells known as alpha cells, beta cells and delta cells. These are the three types of cells that are shown by the islet of Langerhans, which is your endocrine pancreas. Right? Now, the alpha cells secrete a hormone known as glucagon. Right? So they secrete this hormone which is called as glucagon, whereas the beta cells secrete insulin. Why? Beta cells secrete insulin. Right? Now, what does this particular hormone glucagon do? This particular hormone glucagon is hyperglycemic. Right? What do you mean by hyperglycemic hormone? It is a hyperglycemic hormone. Hyperglycemic hormone, I'll just show this. First of all, it is a peptide which acts mainly on liver cells. It is a peptide which acts mainly on liver cells, right? Where it stimulates hepatocytes. Right? Where it stimulates hepatocytes for glucose. And this action is called as hyperglycemic, right? Or for glucose, as in it stimulates hepatocytes for glycogenesis leading to increased blood, increased level of blood glucose. Level of blood glucose. And this level of increased level of blood glucose is called as hyperglycemic. So when I say that glucagon is hyperglycemic, what does that mean? It means that now this increased level of blood glucose is called as hyperglycemia, or it is this is why we say that glucagon is hyperglycemic. Now it also stimulates gluconeogenesis. It also stimulates gluconeogenesis, which also contributes to hyperglycemia. Right? Glucagon reduces the cellular glucose uptake. Glucagon reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. Right? So those are the hormones that are generated by alpha cells, right? So alpha cells secretes this glucagon. Now let's come to the beta cell. Beta cell secretes insulin. Now what does insulin do? Insulin is also a peptide hormone. Insulin is also peptide hormone. Insulin is also a peptide hormone which plays a major role in the maintenance of blood glucose level. It plays an important role in the maintenance of blood glucose level. Insulin stimulates, again like glucagon, insulin also stimulates hepatocytes and adipocytes, right? It stimulates hepatocytes and adipocytes for cellular glucose uptake and utilization. For cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So glucagon reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization, whereas insulin increases the glucose uptake and utilization. Therefore, glucose from blood decreases. That will lead to hypoglycemia. So glucagon is hyperglycemic, whereas insulin is hypoglycemic, right? Will decrease. Conversion of glucose to glucagon occurs in the target cells. Glucose from blood decreases and conversion of glucose to glycogen occurs in target cells. Occurs in target cells. Right? This conversion of glucose into glycogen, this process is also called as glycogenesis. Right? So do we understand what does the alpha cell do? Alpha cell will produce glucagon, which is hyperglycemic, that would increase, which would act on the cells and would lead to increased level of sugar in the blood. As this would, then the next is your beta cells. Beta cells would secrete insulin, which would lead to a decreased level of sugar in the blood. Now the blood glucose level is thus maintained by the joint action of insulin and glucagon. I can say therefore the blood glucose level is maintained by joint action of insulin and glucagon. Right? Now, suppose if I have prolonged hyperglycemia. Prolonged hyperglycemia leads to prolonged hyperglycemia. Guys, what will happen in case of prolonged hyperglycemia? There would be an increase of sugar level in the blood, would lead to diabetes. Would lead to diabetes mellitus, right? Due to insufficient insulin level. Due to insufficient insulin level. Fine. In this condition, the cells are unable to utilize glucose. In this condition, cells are unable to utilize glucose. Right? As a result of this, blood having high level of glucose is excreted from urine. Blood having high level of glucose is excreted from urine. Fine. Then you also have harmful compounds like ketone bodies that are formed leading to harmful bodies like ketone bodies, deposition of ketones, that is, are formed leading to ketosis. Right? Now, that means how do I treat this? Diabetes can therefore be treated by any drug that is hypoglycemic. So any hypoglycemic drug which would help in utilization of glucose in the blood would treat diabetes. So I can say that diabetes can be treated with hypoglycemic drugs. or insulin therapy. Two ways. Either I decrease the level of glucagon in the level or in the blood, or I increase the level of insulin in the blood. Right? Now this was about the alpha and the beta cells. What about the delta cells? The delta cells secretes. Let's see the delta cells. The delta cells secrete a hormone which is called as somatostatin. They secrete this hormone called as somatostatin hormone. Now what does this hormone do? It decreases glucagon and insulin secretion, both, which decreases glucagon and insulin secretion. Right? So that was all about the pancreas. Next, let us see the gonads. Now, what do I understand by gonads? Gonads are nothing but they are the reproductive organs. Right? In males they are a pair of testes, and in females they are a pair of ovaries. Right? The reproductive organs are pair of testes in males and pair of ovaries in females. Right? Now let's see each one of them. First, let us see the testes. Now, a pair of testes. The pair of testes are present in a specific sac outside the abdomen in male individual. The male reproductive organ is not inside, but it is external to the body. So I can say that a pair of testes is present in the subcrotal sac outside the abdomen in male individuals. Right? Now, the testes they perform two functions. They are reproductive organs as well as endocrine glands. Testes are primary reproductive organs as well as endocrine glands. Right? Now, what are they made up of? They are made up of numerous seminiferous tubules and intestinal clusters of endocrine cells. Right? They are composed of numerous seminiferous tubules. We'll see these tubules when we do human repro, and intestinal clusters of endocrine cells. That is what they are made up of. right? Endocrine cells called, these endocrine cells are called the Leydig cells. Leydig cells. So they are made up of seminiferous tubules and they are made up of Leydig cells, right? Now, the hormones produced by Leydig cells, hormone produced by Leydig cells are called androgens. These are the hormones that are produced by the Leydig cells, which are steroids. Right? The most significant androgen that is produced by the Leydig cell is testosterone. The most significant androgen produced by Leydig cells is testosterone. Right? Now, what do these hormones do? They regulate and stimulate the development, maturation and function of male reproductive organ. Androgens regulate and stimulate the development, maturation and functions of the male reproductive organ. Functions of male reproductive organs, right? They regulate, stimulate the development and maturation and functions of the male reproductive organs, like the seminiferous tubule, the glands, seminiferous tubule. Then you have something else called as epididymis, right? The other glands like vas deferens. Then you have seminal vesicles. Prostate gland. We'll see all of these in detail when we do the repro, and the urethra. Right? So these are the organs that are stimulated by the androgen. Fine. They also stimulate muscular growth. They also stimulate muscular growth, as in growth, muscular growth, growth of facial and auxiliary hair, growth of facial and axillary hair. Then aggressiveness, low pitch of voice, etc. Aggressiveness, low pitch voice, etc. Fine, do we get this thing here? They stimulate seminiferous tubule in the process of spermatogenesis. They stimulate seminiferous tubules in the process of spermatogenesis. Right, so that's your male reproductive organ, testes. Next, let's come to the female reproductive organs, that's the ovary. Now, ovaries are located in the abdomen. A pair of ovaries, like how the male reproductive organ is located outside the abdomen, the female reproductive organ is located inside the abdomen. A pair of ovaries are located in the abdomen. Fine. Now, ovaries are the primary reproductive organs of female and as well as the endocrine organs. Same as in the case of males. Ovaries are primary reproductive organs in females or of females, which are also endocrine glands. Fine. Now, what do they secrete? Ovaries secrete two steroids hormones. Ovaries secrete two steroid hormones. Now, the two steroid hormones that they secrete, one is the estrogen and the second is the progesterone. Right, so these are the two hormones that are secreted by the ovary. Now, what does each one of this do? The estrogen is secreted by the developing ovarian follicle. Estrogen is secreted by the developing ovarian follicle. Right? It has multiple roles. This particular hormone has multiple roles in the stimulation of growth organs. It has multiple roles. In stimulation of growth, in stimulation of growth of reproductive organs. It has multiple roles in stimulation of growth of reproductive organs, like the growth of your reproductive organs is controlled by this particular hormone, like ovaries, oviduct, uterus, and vagina. These organs are developed with the help of this particular hormone, which is called as estrogen. It also controls the female secondary sexual characters. It also controls the female sexual secondary like high pitch voice, development of mammary glands, then broadening of the pelvis, etc. Right? So, in short, I could say that estrogen, it regulates the female sexual behavior. You could say that estrogen regulates female sexual behavior. Right? Now, after the ovulation, that means if the ovary does not combine with the sperm, right? I can say after ovulation, the empty Graafian follicle is converted into a structure called corpus, is converted into a structure called as corpus luteum, right, which secretes a hormone known as progesterone. So progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum. Progesterone is a hormone which maintains pregnancy. It is a progestational hormone which maintains pregnancy, right? It also acts on the mammary glands and stimulates them for milk forming apparatus. It also acts on mammary glands and stimulates them for milk forming apparatus. Right? So those were the gonads. Next, let's see the hormones which are there in the gastrointestinal tract. Hormones in gastrointestinal tract. Now, you have a lot of scattered endocrine hormones that are present in the different parts of the alimentary canal. Mainly, you have 4 peptide hormones that are present there. The scattered endocrine cells, in different parts of alimentary canal, secrete 4 peptide hormones. right? There are 4 peptide hormones which are secreted in the gastrointestinal tract, which are, first you have the gastrin, second you have the secretin, third clocystokin, which is also called kinin, which is also called as the CCK, clocystokin, and last is gastric inhibitory hormone or peptide, which is called as the GIP. So those are the 4 main peptide hormones that are generated by the endocrine cells in the gastrointestinal tract. So let's see the function of each one of them. I can say that gastrin. What does gastrin do? Gastrin stimulates the gastric glands for secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. It stimulates gastric glands. It stimulates gastric glands for secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Right? That was gastrin. Next, secretin. What does secretin do? Secretin acts as an exocrine pancreas and stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonates in the bicarbonates to form pancreatic juices. It acts as exocrine pancreas. It acts on exocrine pancreas and stimulates secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. These are the 2 things that are generated by them to form pancreatic juices. Fine, that is secretin. Then comes the CCK, clocystokin, CCK. Now, it acts on pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juices. It acts on pancreas and gallbladder. It acts on pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates secretion of pancreatic enzymes, and bile juices. Pancreatic enzyme and bile juices. So that was the CCK, and the last is the GIP. Right? That's your gastric inhibitory peptide. Right? It inhibits gastric secretion and motility. It inhibits gastric secretions and motility. They shouldn't move away. They should remain in the gastrointestinal tract only. Right? Okay, we'll stop this here for the day. Thank you very much.